Hi, I'm here with Delphi Kuglivan from Peru. She's a sophomore at Rollins College. She's on the water ski team, and she's an environmental studies major. Delphi, I'm going to be asking you a few questions about why you came to the United States. So here is the first one. What were the top three reasons you decided to come to the U.S. in the first place?
Okay, first, education-wise, my Peru didn't offer, none of the universities in Peru offered my major.
Mm-hmm.
And then for water skiing, the opportunities down here were definitely much better than in Peru. And I guess the fact that I got a chance to learn English when I was young, and I wanted to go out and see everything, and I got the opportunity because I really knew the language.
Okay, yeah. And what opportunities now does the United States provide that Peru wouldn't have provided?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna be able to get a really good education on the topic I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
And then water skiing wise, I've been able to reach a certain professional level I would definitely haven't been able to achieve if I would have stayed in Peru.
Okay, because mainly the infrastructure is more set up here, or
I guess in Peru, they have good infrastructure near Lima for water skiing, but there are not many people skiing down there, so I was kind of on my own. And yeah, practicing a sport by yourself certainly doesn't get you anywhere.
Okay. And what were the three biggest obstacles you faced living in the U.S.?
I found it difficult. I mean, it's different when you come as a tourist and when you actually come and live here and you have to settle here. And it was kind of a culture shock at first. I'm not gonna lie, language was difficult. And besides that, living on my own, having my family around, and starting to make important choices about the way I'm gonna live around here was definitely a really important part.
Okay. And what drove you out of Peru to come live and study in the U.S. in the first place?
Well, I guess I already said generalizing water skiing and education. And also as a water skier, I've got a chance to go around the world and see different cultures, different places, and I realized that Peru is just a small bubble. And I guess that being able to come to such a Rollins is a really small school, but there's so much diversity of people and so many I've been able to build so many relationships with students and staff and whatever that I would never think of, and I guess I'm getting that interaction I kind of was able to see when I was traveling around the world as a skier, and now I'm actually living it. So I guess that's a really important part.
Okay, and one of the hardest challenge you faced living here was food, or?
I mean, there were many, but I guess learning how to be independent and making decisions on my own, that was different.
Okay. And what do you miss most about home?
Home, I miss the most food. I miss
what kind of food?
Especially seafood.
Seafood.
Yeah, like ceviche, for example. I miss it a lot. I miss going out and partying and dancing, because the environment around here when compared to any Latin environment is completely different.
Completely different.
And then it's also hard around here, especially I guess in Orlando, not having a car. I guess the public transportation is definitely not I know it's just hard going around Orlando without a car, and I need to go around and usually train in many different places. So it's hard to get a ride sometimes.
To get around, okay. And how do the American people react when you say you're from a different country? Do they show interest at first? I mean, how does it work?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious I'm from another country because of my accent, so I always get that question. And yeah, they do show interest, but it's kind of I'm generalizing. It's kind of a superficial interest, but generally it's just oh yeah, you're from Peru, and they talk about typical stuff like Machu Picchu or like Amazon and stuff like that, and then it just gets into a normal and easygoing conversation. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what would be one of the things you would immediately change in the country? Say maybe overall geography.
I mean, yeah, I guess that there's in the U.S. there's, I'm talking in general, many, it's like a lack of knowledge about the surrounding world, especially geography. I mean, there are countless times I've said I'm from Peru and people have no idea where I'm from.
Yeah, awareness.
Oh yeah, just general awareness.
Yeah.
More than not only like American in the U.S. specifically, but kind of like world like understand, acknowledge that there's a big world around, and
yes,
you need to know a little bit about everything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and what barriers did you face with the American people in general, if any?
At first, I guess was the language, but I think I got the hang of it pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I've had a hard time making like real relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. I guess I trust people, but people don't generally trust. Trust, or gaining trust from people has been
it's
hard.
Harder over here.
Yeah, harder over here than in Latin America.
Okay.
Definitely.
Interesting. Okay. And why in Peru did you learn English in the first place? Was it required when you were going to school, or when did you start learning it?
Public education is it's not that great in Peru, so usually if you want to have some type of good education, or you need to be in a private school.
Okay.
So it happened to be that the one of the best private schools in Peru was run by Americans.
Okay.
So that's how I ended in there, and I guess that why English and not any other like language, like maybe French or
mm-hmm.
German or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's because my parents realized that English is like a global language, and if you want to be able to succeed
mm-hmm.
other than in some part in Latin America, you need to learn English.
Yeah.
So and I'm grateful for that. I mean, they were right.
Yeah. And quickly back to the public schools, you said, do they teach a lot of English in those schools, or is it not as well taught as in the private schools, for example?
English if they teach it in public schools, it's really basic. Like you wouldn't be able to communicate. And in my case, I was in like all my classes in school were English, were English based.
Mm-hmm.
I only had a Spanish class where I learned how to like grammar and then Peruvian history, and that was it. But the rest was all in English.
Okay, and last question, or second to last question. What do you like most about living in the U.S.?
It's really, I guess, it's a place where you can have many like if you dream about something, you can go do it, which means that it gives you many opportunities to be successful and achieve the goals you want to achieve in life, I guess. Yeah.
And last question before we conclude: what habits did you have to abandon after coming here, if any?
I guess food. Yeah, I guess in Peru, basically like food is mainly local, so we would go to a market and everything would be constantly fresh.
Yeah.
And I guess we kind of lost that here when I got into this, and the idea of like buying frozen food, and that was like the main difference.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for doing this interview. That's it.